week, but everybody else has confirmed.
Okay.
Okay, Britt just started everything. Cool, cool. I'm just making sure. Yes. I'm just seeing if there's anybody online, and there's not. It's just me and Britt.
Well, it's 6 o'clock. Andrew Dewar, call the meeting to order. Call the roll.
Yeah. Britt, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Can you say that again, Britt? Can you say that
Yeah,
again,
can
Britt?
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Awesome.
Okay. All right, Scott Pappage and Dwight DeBrew will be out this evening. Let's start with Richard Brandon.
Present.
Andrew Dewar.
Here.
John Thompson.
Here.
Meg Fox.
Here.
Ron Mitchell. Trustee Larson is running a little bit late, but he will be here, and I'll let you know when they join. And we also are missing Steve Carreau, but I think he'll be joining us.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments on the consent agenda? You said no one online?
Nance Matthews from Mountain Goat Tea is online.
Hello.
I'd call for a motion to approve the consent agenda. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda. I make a motion. Thanks, John. I'll second that.
Thank you, Richard. All right, Richard Brandon. Now we're voting. Sorry, so now I'm gonna do roll call, and so now I'm gonna vote. So now you vote if you approve or don't approve the consent.
I approve the consent.
Thank you. Andrew Dewar,
Yes.
John Thompson,
Yes.
Meg Fox,
Yes.
Ron Mitchell. Abstain. All right, thank you.
Is there any public comment on agenda items?
Nothing online.
Nothing online. Okay. No one in the room, no one online, not seeing or hearing any, so we'll move on to the next agenda item. Kate, you want to introduce the next agenda item?
Absolutely. So this evening, and Britt is online to answer any questions this evening about the website and as her work as a web manager. But last year,
Master. Sure you have share on the website confusion.
I don't have any specific questions. Everything looked fine to me as far as the allocation initially, and it seems to be pretty straightforward. So, sounds good to me.
So I think part of this is kind of giving some consideration or hearing your thoughts on what amounts, like they're, out of the 5,300, with 866 being business directory, I think part of the question before us is how much are we willing and able to contribute, 30%, 20%, 50%, 70%, something like that, yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
This is my first time, so if I'm doing something wrong, let me know. My question is the 5,300, is that per year that we're spending on this directory?
That's correct.
Yes, but not the business directory is that separate 866. That's what it'll be about for each year. This is above that. Because we would pay for the business directory since we used to have one and we wanted to be hosted in a better way. And so that part is already decided. It is more paying a portion of the web cost because we do utilize it. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, that number just seems really high for a directory.
I think isn't also talking about the website itself, the town.
The full cost, so, because what number, that's what I'm trying to make sure of, Jay. So the full cost is 4,900 for all the bells and whistles and different things, the hosting, I don't know, if you want, I think.
Does
Yeah,
the,
can you hear me?
Can you hear me now better?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
do you hear?
Yeah, I'm happy to offer. So we took on some additional cost as town for additional programming with this software as well. That pretty much shows me any ADA like stuff that's not in compliance. And so between that cost and just this large cost in general, that's kind of why we're just seeing if there's an interest in, kind of cost sharing a little bit more. I'm not asking for 50%. I'm just trying to, any help we can get is kind of where I'm at from my stance. It is a higher amount. This was originally picked by our old public engagement, Peter. And so I'm kind of just moving it forward. It seems to be what most government websites are going to, just to let everyone know.
And I'll show in that these typically cost a lot of money to work because you're talking about the public meetings and other things. So it's a costly undertaking to move to these kind of new systems, but you're getting a superior product, and the ease for the public is really what we're talking about here. So, when I went out and was looking at different costs for websites when we were looking for us, if the NDDA had just approached somebody to do this, it was like $20,000. So yes, it's a hefty bill, but we're getting a good deal from it, and it makes us compliant with a lot of different things that we need to be compliant with.
yeah, does the $866, does that cover updating the website, like somebody is designated to keep it up to date?
No, I have to do that, but we still get technical assistance and all of that. Britt, do you want to chime in with anything?
Yeah, I was gonna say, so Kate and I are pretty much the ones, like I run the website for the town of Netherland outside of, for anything with any department. And then we do get technical assistance. They have been great so far. And then I will really just be helping Kate where is needed to kind of keep this going and make sure it's smooth.
So, Brett, this is Andrew. Can I just say, so that we're talking about the netherlandsco.gov website, right? That is costing that is hosting at the 40,
Yes,
4,400, and then the business directory is 866 of the annual hosting cost of the whole town website. Okay.
correct,
Got it.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah, just wanted to clarify that, 'cause I'm trying to reboot my computer, but the there's like $4,400, that's the whole Netherland. Like that's all the. whole-
Public Works, everybody, yep.
Everyone, is that per year? And then the 866 is just the biz directory, which is really falls on the NDDA, because that's our thing. But the 4,400 is like everything else for the whole town. And then the question before us is, what portion of that do we feel is fair and good to contribute?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And just Steve Carot is present now, and also is trustee Larson, just to make sure that's all.
It'd be a really good, but it'd be a really good idea to have them out on the road of like 30%. That's how everybody feels.
And what other parts of, I haven't looked at the website, so what other parts of the website are there? You know, like there's public works and I think the main part is the town itself. And
Yeah, I mean, if you have a chance, everyone, I would invite everyone to go to the netherlandsco.gov website. That I think my own thoughts on this, for a long, long time, we've had kind of outdated, outmoded websites, not only, especially the DDA.
Yeah.
But also town. And knowing that this has been a big push to get accessible as well as current, and that Britt is kind of leading it up with help from Kate is nice to see. I know we had at one point in a previous budget session talked about, budgeting thousands of dollars towards a website, our own DDA website, in addition to the stuff about the business directory. And I mean, this, to me, for effectively hosting our local government website, I feel like it's a really important thing to do. And I'd be kind of on the higher end of spending of, even 50%. But certainly I feel like 30% would be at minimum, given that we're talking about, about $300.
So 30% is 1,350. 80, like, so we can round, we can do that, but that, just to give you an idea, you could say, maybe you want to just do 1,500, I don't know, just trying to help you all come up with a number, because it's a different situation to be in. Normally, it's easier to slice it out, but I think just like to Andrew's point, the ease and the way that it makes it easier for people to find our information and to know where to go to get what they need is very helpful, and for us to be with all the federal equal opportunity things that we need to be.
I agree with that now that I understand the situation a little more. Yeah, comparatively to what we have, that we use in my business just for like $300, $400. And like you were mentioning, Kate, about the whole ADA and all the compliances that we need to conform to, I definitely think at least 30% to help cover this for ourselves and for the city and for the town of Netherland is definitely worth it to this going forward.
I'm trying to open the business directory and it is not open.
Information, and there's going to be probably a whole page that has, it's really bare bones right now, but then we'll be working with the provider to amp that up.
Okay, so they're currently working on that.
Yes.
When did we start that work?
We've been working in earnest since December. Me and Brent trying to figure out the DDA piece of things. And so we've had to go back and forth with Civic Plus quite a bit. But we finally got some consistent guidance that's going to help us with that business directory. And so that's why I'm going to do all of that. And, that is kind of the ease of it. These websites are meant for, bureaucrats to manage, not web managers to manage. So it's easy for me to be able to go in there and maintain this information and work with Brett on that.
Gotcha.
And if I could, can I just add, just to give you some background? If you can hear me.
Go ahead. Yes.
I just wanted to add, this was originally started by the town's public engagement coordinator, which was Peter. And so this is something, I'm your community planner. And so I really took this under, it's not really under my role, but it's something I took on because I find it to be really important. And so I think there was some lost transition of what was truly needed. And so Kate and I have really had to dig that work. And, I'm hoping to create this temporary solution until this is up. The good thing is that it can move forward because we've already sent payment to go ahead and get this stuff all started and squared away. So I don't expect it to take long to get up. I just think it's taken a bit longer because that kind of transition and all of that was lost, and I just kind of had to pick it up and kind of figure it out along the way.
Okay, so just so I'm understanding this correctly, the delay tech support.
Been a lot. I have is Britt and I getting on the same page with them about that. It's all annual is what we're talking about. No, if that was the case, meeting would be different, I think.
I just wanted to add for online, your audio keeps going in and out. So it's really hard to figure out what's going on because I don't think it's just me.
No, part of it is we're losing signal strength.
Oh,
That's, I
okay.
think, is part of it.
Okay. I was like, I
Yeah,
feel
that's
crazy.
what's
Okay.
happening.
Sorry.
You're not crazy.
Okay.
The web strength is what is, I'm noticing, making that happen.
Okay. Okay.
And I'll try to speak into the microphone better. If we're looking at percent of the other part of the website,
Yep.
service.
Okay, we're back. Are you?
Says thank you, audio is dropping in there. I can't hear, but
Okay, I think that's what I was gonna say. I think she might just be off there. All right. On to the next. All right, well, at last month's meeting, I brought a scope and we started talking about the First Street demonstration. About previous events and previous times, sorry, previous concerns about the way things were had gone on in the past with events. And so instead of having any action, I'm just going to be giving you an update on what kind of things I've heard. And then next month, we'll have a more substantive, I don't know if it'll be discussion or action. I'll work with Andrew on that over the course of the next month, based on the feedback that comes from the First Street meeting and kind of thinking, teasing out next steps. Their businesses at the vault or in other parts of downtown. So the meeting is scheduled for April 21st, 11 a.m. at UC Brews. And from initial conversations, I just kind of want to let you know some of the things that have emerged. And some are open to trying the demo project, just not during leaf peeping, because, you know, it was proposed so that we could really see how much we could capitalize on the traffic that we have during that high time. Well, business has heard you want to try something new when we make a lot of our money. And so, and so that was great feedback. And so I think they felt heard that, you know, like, okay, we'll press off that, but that does lead the question of when it should be tried. So that it is a worthy endeavor. So that's one thing that, you know, we'll probably come back to you all next month to talk about a little bit more in depth. There are concerns from businesses over resiliency related to the power outages and the cutting of the power. That was a big thing that I heard a lot. The businesses want a well-planned and executed event. They don't want something just slapped together. They do want to all work together. And I think we've all discussed, like, this doesn't work if we're all not working together and there's not buy-in from the First Street business owners. If they're not willing to, you know, help on this event with us, you know, and give it a try. And through these conversations, there's definitely that willingness. Like at first, you know, people have like their feelings, but I think after conversations and that people are definitely understand a little bit more about what we're trying to do. In the time since the comprehensive plan and the meetings were had, there's been significant events in Netherland, and that influences how people feel about a priority being given to First Street. You know, there's the acquisition of Eldora, there's a huge fire, you know, so much has happened since we talked about the priorities that are in that comp plan. So that was something I observed in my conversations. There are concerns about parking. There's a desire for sidewalks and better accessibility. And I met with the farmers market and they are open to discussions on working together on an event and being a part of a closure if it makes sense with their season and what they've got going on. So that was exciting to talk to them, but that would still be ongoing. I need to talk to their board, but they're definitely open to being a part of that and seeing what it would be like to do a market on the street with the support from the DEA and figuring out all the stuff with town that needs to happen when those events happen. So, and like I said, right now, because we haven't had that First Street meeting where they want to come together, I don't have much more that I'm to share other than those overarching things. When I come back next month, I'll have more data points like this many people care about that, or this people, because these, in conversations I've been having one-on-one have really informed me of the questions I want to ask during the meeting. Because of course, like, it'll be what they want to talk about, but I also do want to ask them questions, which is part of why I wanted to talk to us about it tonight. So really, before you tonight, what I'm interested in is you going around and asking me if you have any questions based on this initial stuff, if you have any thoughts, and if you have any questions that you'd like me to do more work on, either at that meeting or just in the next month, things that you're interested on. So I just am really interested in that feedback from you all this evening to help me, put together a more immediate item with Andrew for May.
Thanks, Kate, for going around so far and starting the one-on-ones and the meetings and having initially at least some initial feedback from the what one-on-ones you were able to have together, and then also getting a time on the board that it seems like people are willing and able to attend. So that's huge. So thank you for that. As far as, are there any questions that I, for myself, as a board member, can think of for the business owner for the April meeting? I don't, I mean, part of me wants to just, kind of ask, as always, in any of these one-on-ones with the business owners or the collective, and maybe this is too broad of a statement to ask, but it's, how do you feel the DDA can best serve you? That would be one,
Affect
yeah.
your challenges.
Yeah.
Okay. Serve and affect. Okay.
I realize lots of different businesses, everyone has different ideas and opinions and needs. But I don't have any questions on the feedback received so far. I know we'll get some more after the next meeting, but.
And I did want to note that the owners asked for this meeting, so that was very exciting. That's what we wanted them to have, that buy-in. And I am planning on doing that kind of with the vault businesses and having these smaller groups so that before we come all together and talk about something, that some of those unique issues to different owners in different locations, they can have that venue to feel heard. That definitely it came out through these meetings, that they do want to talk to each other. And now this is at least something that starts them having that. So I'm encouraged by the way that people really do want to communicate with one another, and that they're passionate, but they're respectful. And so it's been very encouraging.
Ron, do you have any? No comment.
I guess my first question is, you have kind of 7 points or 7 comments you've received so far. You say it's based on the one-on-ones you've had to this point. I guess my biggest question is, how are you collecting the data? How many one-on-ones have you had to get these 7? Was it 2 people that gave you 7? Was it 8 that gave you 7? How many total businesses are being addressed? How many are we reaching out to? How many actually attend the meeting on the 21st versus the one-on-ones? And how are you collecting the data so it's not, not sort of anecdotal?
Yeah, that it's not personalized. And so right now, that's why this is consistent with everybody that I've talked to. I have talked to everybody on First Street, but 2 different businesses, but I have reached out to them. And so like, I can prove contact with everybody. And this is where, when I give you the meteor, I'm going to give you 10 people out of the 15 here said this, and I also think it's important, and this will depend on how the conversation goes, but I also think you need to hear retail versus restaurant. I think that that's an important distinction that you need to hear between, because we're heavier on restaurant feedback than we are retail. And so those are the types of things that's why I didn't want to assert too much in here, but everybody said those things, else I wouldn't have felt comfortable kind of putting them in there. And I know that there's also, people don't necessarily, I think that having, being amongst a group of people and be able to like raise your hand that that's something I care about too, is a more comfortable way for people to talk about it. So then it's not like, well, this business wants this and this business, it's more 5, 10, those numbers that you're talking about, so that you're just talking about that empirical. So I'll break all that down for you when I come with more information.
And are the questions you're asking on the one-on-ones, the event on the 21st, not knowing what the questions are, I'm just concerned, are they being expressed in an open way so that people can come in with dissent, not come in like feeling, oh, this is a foregone conclusion that this event is happening, this is what I'm, like,
I'm
just
just
say,
like,
I absolutely do not, I think it's a terrible, terrible thing the DDA is doing.
so I have been just listening and asking questions. So I don't go into any of these meetings other than with a, hey, we're trying to do this demo project. Talk to me about how you feel about this. Talk to me about your past feelings. If they start talking about their business during Frozen Dead Guys days, I try to get that information out. But it's really just been letting the conversation go, letting people talk about the things that they care about. And some of that the DDA can affect and a lot of it they can't. And so all of that stuff was what was coming from these one-on-ones. So when I go in with the questions, it will be specific to what the DDA can affect. And that's kind of why normally I love to have everybody there, but I think it's important that it's just me and the business owners just going through and I just hash out, right questions, have them hash what they care about, and then I just bring that back to you in that way so that it doesn't start to drift into things that the DDA isn't involved in. It's not part of the plan of development. It keeps us on this topic and what their concerns are. Because there's a lot of different things that have come up, but they all do relate to the plan of development and they do relate to First Street and sidewalks and accessibility, like I said in there. That is a very consistent message. And so that's where I want to give you better numbers on what that means and where those businesses are, because right now we got to this place because everybody loves the idea of a festival street, but the people on First Street are hesitant. So that numbers are skewed because everybody else is feeling it, and then how they're reticent because of different ballot feelings. So that's kind of how I'm trying to just approach it, is just be open and not really have an agenda other than education. Really right now, because I think they also just want an update on the plan of development. And so I'm gonna ask them if that, but really I am gonna go in just specific to this project, talk to them, ask them what they think that the DDA could be doing and what they really want to see them focused on. Because if it's not putting it on the demo street right now, and you'd really rather them try to get the grant to do the sidewalks, and we're trying to do something that's immediately more active, I think that's important for you all to know.
It's kind of what I was getting,
Yeah.
if they're all saying the sidewalks are their priority, that has if that's coming out of discussion, that has nothing to do with the demo
Yeah.
festival street.
Exactly.
Then that's really a message to us to be tool.
Exactly. And that's what I want to just make sure. That's why I didn't want to be too heavy handed with this, because I really want them to tell you that. And that's the other thing that I've been telling them in all the meetings is when people are talking, I'm like, keep saying that. Tell people that, let that be known. And I do think that some people are reticent to do that because, being out in the public, and there's vulnerability to that. And they're just trying to survive and be business owners. And so I really am just trying to meet them where they are and like try to organically keep us working together, because I do think we're all the closest to being aligned that we've been in a long time. And I'm just trying to tread very lightly and bring us all together so that you feel good about the decisions that you make. Thanks, Chris.
It says here that they are definitely against having it during leaf peak
Yeah.
season, which I think is good, but I would want to ask them when would be a good time to test this, because we do have to keep in mind the seasons where we get an absurd amount of wind. Having a festival, like wind could make or break a festival, especially with how common power outages are as listed in here. So I would be curious to see what the business owners think would be the best time to test something like this out.
So I have been asking that and I've gotten every answer in the book. So I'm gonna break that out a little bit more for next month too, because everybody does want to try shoulder season stuff, but to really prove this and make it worth all the stuff, you really do want to try it in the summer or a higher time. And so you all need to discuss that. And so I'm going to bring, those points and the pros and cons of that, because there are a lot of people that want in a winter event, and Lord knows I want to light up town and do all the things. I really do. And if that's something we feel like we can do, that could definitely be still talked about this year. But there's pros and cons to that.
The wind would definitely make or break the success of this experiment. So we do have to keep that in mind that winter is very windy.
What's the structure of this meeting gonna be like?
I'm still working on that a little bit.
Are you gonna have like you to organize it and be like, okay, here we go.
Oh, yeah, no, yes, so I'm gonna, so this is gonna be an April meeting with the first three business owners. At UC Bruce at 11 a.m. And so I will have structure to it. I just haven't totally figured out all the different pieces of how I'm going to do that yet, because I definitely want them to have their time to just talk, but then there are things I want to get from the meeting from them, like these points that you're pulling out. Did I answer your question? or-
Yes, definitely.
Okay,
That's, what day is the 22nd?
the 21st is a Tuesday.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that'd be great.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'll be there.
And I think, Kate, I need some help. I'm gonna try and free up my schedule that day. I think it would be helpful to have someone kind of helping moderate and make sure, because I've definitely been at some group town meetings where one person hijacks, and it's a lot of, and I think we need to have some,
And that's been brought up, and that's the reticence of some business owners, and so I was happy that they even brought that up, and so I appreciate that, and I have also talked to town about other ways to make that feel like a safe space for people to just talk. Because we don't learn anything if nobody wants to talk to us.
Well, I'd like to go myself as a member of the DDA.
Okay.
To like help kind of push different directions, like is it gonna be organized with no, the Sunday thing, farmer's market, thank you. Is it gonna, I can see those guys wanting different things.
Yeah, so that's why, like, this is just about listening to the first three business owners and seeing if you all are on the right track, or if there does need to be it, or if you want them to inform this a little bit more, which you've all have shown that that's what you want to know, what they want to say, and where your priorities should be on the plan of development. And I do think that we're all close. It's just, let's hear what they have to say about different things. And I would love that, like, let's try together as I'm putting more form to how I want to run the meeting, but I am planning on kind of just going with it. And so, like, knowing how I want to bring it in at one point, but just also letting them talk to each other and getting the information from there too.
If you want any help with the questions. plug some stuff in,
Absolutely.
Come by and see me.
Okay.
Yeah, along the lines of what Chris was talking about, one thing that might be helpful for us is to ask a particular.
Listen closer.
Okay, thank you. Ask some particular questions about their priorities in terms of all of the possible things on the menu with the plan of development. With this flexible First Street being one of them. And just see, in that context, we could see pretty clearly where it falls.
That's exactly, yeah. Because the catalytic project number 5 has a few pieces to it. And so that's where I want to break that down for them a bit and to see, where the desire is and just the overall plan of development. But it has been pretty clear from the conversations that everyone wants sidewalks and accessibility, that's something that they're concerned about.
Cool.
Kind of going, I had the same question about Meg, that Meg brought up, the when and the when. Also, yeah, because it is a kind of a timely matter, I think. But I was wondering if there's any feedback on what, if they had any ideas, like what their version of a well-planned, executed event would be if they're looking for something else.
I don't think anybody was able to
take a stab at.
go ahead. Yeah, I don't want to overgeneralize.
We've had, a lot of direct feedback that certain events in town, some of which the DDA was involved in, some of which the DDA had nothing to do with. For example, like, whether it be a race, foot race or bike race or something where the street, a business owner wouldn't get any notice that the street's closed. We're gonna, and they're trying to get to their business. How do I get to my business? Well, you can't, the street's closed, that type of thing. So I think, at least from based on things that I've heard in the past about getting feedback of, how to communicate with the First Street or all business owners about events
Yeah.
is, much better, I think, communication.
Mhm.
I don't necessarily, so that's what I would just go based off of, until hearing on the 21st.
Yeah.
My thought is a well-planned event would be something where there's full communication well in advance. Accessibility, parking, there's a plan.
It doesn't just happen
It
to them.
doesn't just happen.
Right.
And we just, that's just not been, where pull yourselves up by your bootstraps and make things happen kind of community. And sometimes that's had unintended consequences, like was discussed with Mountain Goat Teas, how that example from last month that the stage was right in front of her store. So I think it's those types of things that make people reticent because we've never done it in that big way. And that's why we're looking at a scope for somebody to help teach me how to do those things and how to implement that better in our community. But again, because of it doesn't work if they don't participate in the event, because it's not meant to be to bring other people in. It's meant to celebrate Netherland and First Street and what we are and the greatness that we have here. So I like what Andrew said, and it's just not things that just happen to them.
Discussion, questions for, going back to the two questions at the bottom of this discussion item.
Could we have like a formal survey that we give to all the business owners about this?
So yes, that was, this conversation has evolved strangely, but yes. And so some of those survey questions are exactly what I want to ask them in the meeting. I don't know that I'm going to get to all of them, and that's part of what I want to pare down and just focus on the meeting on certain things. And then after that, since we have that buy-in, then send that out and get some more information that way. But I am trying to pare it down because depending on how many people are there, how much they want to say. I just want to make sure that we can kind of flow with the conversation and still get what we need. But there will definitely most likely be a survey follow-up so that then you can also get some other feedback. And you can see the difference between the different parts of town and what business owners say. Because I also think that's really important for you all to be able to, so that it doesn't feel skewed, that you can really see who's giving feedback on what and how people feel in that way.
Yeah, I think you're keeping it, as simple. Granted, there's a lot of information we want and we've asked for, but I think, maybe having, part of it would be, having a list of questions that people could write answers down on.
Oh, that's,
While you're having, listening to, hey, here's all these sheets. If you're bored with me talking with so-and-so, why don't you write answers down on,
no, I like that. I like that.
And if there is a survey like that, regardless of how it's distributed, I think it would be great to have a section for where your business is located.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they want to go name a business, that's great, but
Yeah.
FCC, like, are you on First Street, are you at the Ball?
That's exactly it. I want them to it doesn't need to be, so it just give us an idea, talk, your restaurant and your business, where are you located? Are you retail? I think those things all play a role in some of the questions that we're asking, and their willingness to do or their openness to try different things.
Right, and you can always have the questions and they leave blank. So.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. But at least, you're trying there.
Have we talked at all about money to help promote this specifically? I was just thinking that if, at the meeting, if you were able to say, NDDA would like to help promote this, it might be.
So that definitely the question has come up with how will the DDA support this? And I said that you guys are interested in that feedback, what would be helpful? And one of the things that they said related to if we did it in the fall was kind of having a fund that they could pull from, that if they could prove that they lost money, that they could pull from that fund. So that was one of the things that they brought up if we were doing it during leaf peeping. But it just seemed that taking that off the table made people way more interested in talking about it and moving forward in a different way. It just, I didn't realize the impact there. I mean, we should have, but I mean, I knew, that's when they make their money, but it just felt, I think it felt very personal to them that we were coming it that way and happening to them again. And so, I get it. And lesson learned.
Especially slow winter for Eldora traffic, it feels like.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Winter. Yeah.
But winter. Well, we haven't done public comment for this item. If you would like to do that, there is a member of the public online.
Public comment.
Hi, can I say something?
Of course.
Hey, I just wanted to circle back.
Oh.
Kate, you said that you had reached out to all of the businesses except for
Hey, Vance,
two.
can you please, state your name?
Oh,
Your
sorry.
business and do all of that first for
Yes.
us?
Sorry, I still am new to the rules. Nance Matthews, and I'm Mountain Goat Teas on First. What other information?
That's all we need. Thank you.
Oh, okay, cool. I just wanted to touch base. You said that you'd reached out to all of the businesses except for two.
That I reached out to all of them, but I haven't met with two. So I've tried one way, whether stopping by, emailing, calling, or, some way, but we haven't connected yet. But yes.
Okay, I just wanted to let you know, Lisa from Co-op hasn't heard, and
Mhm.
neither have Matt and Kelly from Alpaca or Brendan at Chicken Restaurant.
Okay. Well, Brendan, Seth reached out to me about that, so we're kind of meeting in that vein. So I have kind
Okay.
of talked with them, and I did stop by Alpaca. And
Great.
the co-op, I have actually sent a few emails, but didn't know the best person. So if Lisa's the best person, I appreciate you letting me know.
Yeah, she's the manager and she's incredible. I mean, they're all incredible. So, but yeah, Lisa, she's the gal.
Okay. Okay.
And then I was just gonna say one idea I personally had. I know I'm one of many of us on First Street, but the leaf peeping thing is a huge deal for us. If I personally don't make money during leaf peeping season, I can't pay my rent during the winter. But just like an idea I personally had was we could always do, I know for Frozen Dead Guy Days, they had big tents. And maybe we could make use of something like that and it would protect us a little bit from the wind. But that was all.
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll talk more at the big
No,
meeting.
and that is one of the things that I was gonna bring up, like with ideal timing, because I did like your idea about the tents when we met.
Totally. But yeah, that was really all. Yeah.
And John has a question.
Hey, Nance, it's John.
Hi.
Have you talked to anybody on First Street? What's the mood of, are they gonna go to the thing at Busey?
I talked to Lawrence and it's the day after she leaves for France,
Yeah.
so that's a bummer. Brendan is planning on coming because like he really does chicken. Like Seth, yes, obviously he does like the businessy things for it, but Brendan is the leader there every day. So he's like planning on coming. And then I told Kelly and Matt about it and they are planning on coming. And same with Lisa. I haven't circled back to the rock shop, but that's like my vibe on my end.
In the rock shop, I'm getting clarity on who the best person to work with moving forward is. I've spoken with the secretary and the family, and I have gotten what the feedback had been previously from Roy, but who will be working with us moving forward would be different, obviously. So
I think the general vibe from my end is we're grateful that people want to work with us and not do something to us. But also like, thinking about like our priority is not a festival. Like our priority is like not seeing people fall in the gravel because they can't walk on a sidewalk. Like the most basic basic things I think is generally the vibe. But I'm just one of many and I'm sure that she'll get a lot of feedback during the meeting, hopefully.
yeah, and I appreciate you going around and helping us because it doesn't work if we're all not working together and coming to the meeting. And this was what was told to me was a good time to do it. And so that's why we're doing it this way.
Yeah.
And I'm excited because I do think there's going to be a good turnout of everybody to have a meaningful conversation.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope so too.
Well, keep helping me with that.
Thanks, Nance.
Y'all, thanks for letting me comment.
There's no other public online and nobody in here.
Well, got some clarity on questions, more follow-up questions and some structure. Get down there and myself. Do some,
Absolutely. I think that'll be incredibly helpful and I'll bounce some stuff off of you all before so that we're kind of all on the same page about what is the most important things to get out of the meeting and what can be follow-up.
I plan on attending also.
Okay. All right.
we could carpool.
To the trek, the trek to Boozy.
I'll run a bike.
Hey, you wanna do I saw we didn't miss the
Did I miss something?
3.3, the Fed Fire IGA funding resolution?
Oh, that was a part of your consent.
Oh,
So it all got lumped into there. So that is all taken care of. And I'm gonna send you that Adobe sign tonight.
okay.
No. Good question.
Next, is the chair report.
Exactly. We're on information.
All right, well, just give it verbally, I think, puts up, good. Nice. Congratulations to Billy for, win on the election. And, thanks to Nicole and Billy both for their service on the BOT and continued service on the BOT. One thing that I kind of wanted to bring up, I sent it to Kate a few weeks ago when I saw it on BizWest, but it was an article about the Greeley DDA had created, had done an incentive for some anchor project in town. I believe it was a hotel, even a hotel with retail. But it got me thinking about, how typically DDAs will work on public-private partnerships and incentives to make development that improves the property values and the infrastructure of town. And I think that's something that, while I don't have an answer for it now, I would just encourage people to kind of, maybe if you've got some time, to look into public-private partnerships. Because there's a lot of places like where I grew up, and I know, Steve, where you probably grew up, but Western New York, where really nothing would happen, any type of development at all, unless there was really involvement with, the town government and public and private partnerships, making things happen. I think, often this is kind of more than just a chair update, but I think it's part of this is kind of an intention for, out of the last iteration when we had, the last meeting where, the feedback is, hey, sidewalks, no festivals. We're hearing that. And also, the current events that have happened with Eldora, the purchase of Eldora taking a lot of bandwidth in town, and then also, the fire at the shopping center, I have to say, it's like, okay, there's a lot of grave, depressing things out there. And so, if anyone's can, talk to each other or talk to business owners and say, hey, what are some ideas? And that's, I think, it's been a while since we've done what feels like a meaningful project. Certainly, Big Springs parking was something, and we're proud of that. And people like the concert series, and hopefully the wayfinding signs will go up
In May.
And so that'll be nice to see. I know that was a lot of work, but, beyond, and certainly the First Street, Festival Street was, is supposed to be a trial run and low hanging fruit and easy. But, I'm trying to challenge people to think about what are some, challenging things that would take, that will take planning, that will be a challenge, and take building consensus. So that's my rant.
And I'll send out some information about public partnerships, including the Greeley article, but I can send out some high level stuff to everybody just to kind of give some education about, the opportunities with that.
And if I could just join in on Andrew, that, I just want to remind everyone that that is a really
Nothing else for me on the chair, nothing else.
Double check. With the businesses that I'm focused on and the website and getting that business directory sorted because that needs to be up with wayfinding. Because there's a QR code that needs to go to with all the businesses. So that's really the big push. And I'll kind of run through here. Beautification, you might have seen Judy out working in the roundabout today, but she's starting to clean up and get ready. We may be getting our flowers earlier than we usually do. We don't know. We're working on that now, but Judy is starting to get cleaned up and get ready to start the season. And then event support, next month is the month when everybody comes for their summer programs and opportunities. So tomorrow I'll be sending out an email to everybody saying, the grant applications are open for the May meeting. So that'll be another thing at your meeting will be people coming to apply for summer events.
And how is that email, what is that email list?
Everybody, and other people that have come to me in the past, because like Stephanie Andelman, who does these things, she's not in part of the net business list, but she gets put on there because she does events and has come here for money before.
Great, I just wanted it so that it went out to a lot of people, so not just only the.
Not just a few people, no, it goes out to everybody so that if anybody, because like Susan Green from Very Nice, she started doing phones. But I anticipate that they'll probably start doing that for the vault as well.
Great.
Public art, we have Meg, who is our new committee person for that, and we're gonna be working with Mike Foster and starting to figure out the Marion sculptures and all of that next steps. And as well, Meg is working on helping with the visitor center, and I'll kind of turn it over if you want to give a quick little update.
Yeah, so we're just kind of waiting on a good date to work with the town maintenance staff. We have a solid list of priorities, starting with cleaning it out, refurbishing, repainting. We're hoping that with the public art committee involved, we can make the visitor center really bright and fresh and new and full of amazing, local goods, as well as selling some of the inventory that we had previously. So, yeah. Hopefully that will be moving along soon. We're just waiting on town to give us a good date.
Thank you. And then summer concert series, the bands are booked. We have our dates in the town calendar, and I am working on permitting as we speak. And so hopefully I'll have all that done with town in the next couple of weeks is my goal. Working with Nikki and John on that. But we're off and running about that. Wayfinding, like you said, they will be here sometime in the first 2 weeks of May. When I have that exact date, I'll send out a letter like I did when they did the installation of the footers and everything. But when they come around for the signs, they're not going to be here for very long, but they need to be doing some concrete work, which is why we decided that it was just better that they come and knock it all out instead of doing piecemeal. And then website report, you've heard a lot about the web this evening, and